Okay, as you can see, between times in the last clip and this clip, I've mentioned that in I think either the first or the second clip, I am so bad to change my mind. All of a sudden, and I did that with this one. Originally, this little dragon was going to be sitting on a mushroom. I decided, I thought, ooh, no, I'm going to try to make this one a little bit more realistic, so I painted the jawline out just with gray. You know, I still had a hard time figuring out what color I was going to paint this one, but I've decided on the usual purple, blues, and pinks. But I decided to make this one kind of alien looking, like it was in an alien world. And I just let my brush really in the background there do my work for me. I just went up through there and I thought, well, a circle will look good right here. You'll be able to tell more about it once I start adding the color. And I'll go ahead and do that right now. The good thing about that black and white paint, and my stomach's growling if you hear that, I'm sorry. I'm going to make the background like a pink color. But the good thing about the black and white paint that I've already, and you can tell that I darken this, because in reality, the focal point of a star or whatever that is right there, the focal point of this star, I'm sorry, that's my phone, someone's texting me, they can wait for a minute. The focal point of this star, it's actually giving off a lot of light, and I just want it to capture, you know, just a few highlights. And in reality, this whole area here would really kind of be a darker color, so that's how come I kind of went over it more with more layers of dark gray, not solid black, except in a few places I've added the dark black, or excuse me, just the black. But and it's okay if you run, well, I'll show you. It's okay if you run your colors. Like, my dragon is not going to be pink, but once I'm painting the sky in the background, until I get it just right, it's okay if I get that pink paint in some parts of that dragon or these things right here, because it'll make the picture flow. Because it's almost like it'll be reflecting that around it. If that makes sense. Okay. And the acrylic paint I use, I like to use that Winsor Newton Galleria paint. And what colors I'm using is Winsor Blue, Winsor Violet, and Permanent Magenta. So I'm going to go ahead and start the pink in the background. The good thing, what I was going to say about painting it black and gray, and it looks like it's not showing up on there, but it is. I just kind of lighten down that pink, that Permanent Magenta. Sorry, my stomach's growling. But the good thing about that black and white, you've already got your shadows and stuff in, so now all you have to do is just play around with it. That's the best advice I can give you. That's how I learned. And how I learned how to draw, and this is a big secret. I don't know how other artists learn to draw. I didn't go to college to be an artist. I was actually a medical transcriptionist. And that electronic medical record has took my job away from me. So I don't really work in the medical transcription field or doctor's office anymore, but that was what I've done for the last almost 15 years, and just, you know, kind of painted on the side. But anyway, with that black and white paint in there, it's already got your lights and shadows in there is what I'm trying to say. And see, I don't know if you can see it, but now I've kind of got that watered down. The reason I do that is because sometimes I'm not quite sure if that's exactly the color I'm looking for. But as you get on down in here with that permanent magenta, I don't thin it down so much and just let it use the straight color. The one thing you do, I try to do this all the time, and I don't know, other artists may or they may not, I don't know. How many ever colors I'm going to be using, that's how many cups of water that I put at my station, because a lot of times when I'm wanting to achieve like a pink right here, but I've already used blue or purple somewhere else, and if it starts mixing together in the cup, it's all going to be the same color. Sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's brown, and so I try to do that. I don't do it all the time, but I think it looks better if you have a separate water container. And I'm no expert, and I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I do. And I'm not saying my technique is right. That's just how I do things. Okay, so a little bit. I do have a little bit of white on that brush, but not much. Maybe right here. And see, I've got a little bit darker in there. And yes, I know my little alien thing in the background there's disappearing, but I'll bring it back forward later. And two, if you'll kind of paint, I don't know if I can make this make sense. If you can paint in the direction of, how can I make this make sense? If you kind of paint in the direction of what it is you're painting, if you paint in the direction that it's going, it'll kind of look more realistic. In other words, if you're painting a circle, if you'll kind of paint in a circle, it makes it look more like a circle. I don't know if that makes sense, but just like what I'm saying is like down here on this dragon, instead of just woo, 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 this is what I'll do. Like right here at the neck, I guess it's because sometimes I've taught anatomy and physiology at the college, and I guess that's why I do this, because I know how the muscles lay underneath the skin, and I try to follow the muscle pattern, even when I'm painting fairies and stuff like that. So see, like right here on this dragon, I will probably paint this way when I'm painting the dragon, but when I get right here to the nose, I'll probably paint straight. And right here at the neck, instead of just painting straight down like this, I'll paint this way, because it conforms more to the shape of the way the actual muscles, to me, would be laying underneath there. But anyway, okay. And here again is just, I just got solid white on there this time. Uh-oh, see, I don't like the way that's looking. I don't want it that white right there. But see, you can kind of see where I've went over that dragon right there with that pink. See, it's kind of getting into the dragon. That is okay, because it's almost like the dragon will be reflecting the night sky. And I do paint by layers, and that's probably another reason it takes me so long. I probably spend way too much time, you know, on a little bitty piece or a big piece, but you know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, to me, it's like I said, I'm not doing this for a living. It's just something I like to do. But anyway, and let's see. Okay, this is probably about 10 minutes already, and I will probably paint on this a little bit more. And then once I get a little bit further along, I'll do another clip and I'll show you, you know, what I've done. Like, I'm going to go ahead and finish this sky. And what I'll do is I'll try to keep it as light as you can right there in the center focal point, because when I go back and put some little white dots like stars or whatever right there, it is really, that color is really going to pop out at me, and that's what I want. And I'll probably go back over these areas down in here and right here and over to the side with a little bit darker pink. Just keep this right here as light as I can, and I'll paint a little bit darker in here by, you know, adding more layers. You know, I'll just add one layer at a time in these spots until I get it exactly how I want it. So when I get that done and start doing the dragon, or I'll probably go, I've always been taught to do the background first, and that's just, I can't, that's the way I have to do it. So I'll probably start on those little alien things in the back next, and once I start those, I'll do another clip and show you, you know, how to do that. So see you next clip.